Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Anti-Venom. He's one of the 9 champions that got updated with this month's update. And well, he has long been like a bit of a favorite of mine. I have enjoyed using him, but obviously since we did not have him as 7-star, it came fairly rarely. But even as a 6-star, he was still useful in Battlegrounds very recently, and for some Alliance War stuff. But in general, I just always found him to be very versatile. Unfortunately, just about never fast enough. But with the update, that could quite well change. His biggest downside always has been the mix of utility and then switching to damage and then losing that utility. And the buff kind of answers part of that, as well as helps you improve his damage, because now you can pause your passives, including the Furies, and therefore as an end result you can get up fairly substantial numbers of them, as you can see here. Now this first fight is going to be Anti-Venom with a full synergy team, but don't worry, I'll show him for the rest of the video without synergies. And I must say that he is a joy to use. He's still not the easiest champion to use. I don't know why this is so long, but there we go. So the strategy here is going to be quite simple. I do have Mr. Fantastic's debuffs as well, and the synergy. So we are going to get a bit of extra power sting damage there for sure. But the idea is I kind of want to keep on as many disorients as I can, because that gives me the best chance to bypass the damage cap. And yes, we will be attempting to bypass that even on our basic hits in the end. Because once you do kind of ramp him up, he's going to be going bonkers. And the main thing for that really that helps you the most is the Lady Deathstrike synergy. Even without the Lady Deathstrike synergy, you can still put up some incredible numbers. But with that Lady Deathstrike synergy, and that's like the one main one here really. So you want to build up as many debuffs as you can, and then build up level 3 to kind of break your limit and keep 8. And with Lady Deathstrike synergy, you can continuously refresh that passive that allows you to keep your 8 debuffs, and you have 50% chance not to consume any of them. Now with his updated ability, the worst case scenario, you're still going to maintain some. So as you can see here, I'm at 7 debuffs. That was already like a 36k, 38k medium crit there, 24k light crits. And that's after like a single level 3, level 2. And he obviously does get more power quicker as well. So here is already damage capping at 50k and non-crits on the level 2. And at some point here, I think I'm going to go for level 1 as well. But let's just go. So I have 11 Furies. Now I have 16 Furies. And that was the moment where we hit 324k. And that Star-Lord's health is absolutely disappearing. I'm hitting medium crits for 51k. 81k medium crit was there. 189k crit. And the reason why I can bypass the damage cap is his disorient that also reduces his away chance. Obviously he has access to Spectre and whatnot. But yeah, so here at this point I lost a few Furies, but I had 21 Furies at one point. And I mean, he's just destroyed with a crit stat, folks. And this is 2 minutes. 2 minutes to deal 3.4 million health. That's quite crazy. Okay, so now let's take a look at it unsynergized. So this is just Anti-Venom at his base state now. And here, you know, for the most damage in longer fights, you do want to reach that level 3, which is exactly what we're going to do. But in shorter fights, it's basically just going to be level 1, level 2 type of rotations for most part, or spamming level 1 if you really need that petrify, and that's kind of like your main source. But now you have less reason not to go for the level 2, because you will be saving yourself at least 2 of the debuffs, so you will not lose all of the ramp up. And now with his new passives there, the debuffs are more potent as well, up to 25% more potent, which is fairly significant, especially when it comes to Spectre, reducing even more regeneration. And now, so we're still doing no damage, basically. We have spent 40 some hits in the fight, and we have done barely any damage. But that's about to change very soon. So, building up to my first level 2, I want him to use his level 2, and I want to obviously block it, and gain a ton of power, and regen all the damage in the block. And now we have 6 Furies, which is fine. not the worst thing in the world. And then we're going to kind of be alternating in between level 1 and level 2, because level 1 does refresh the, mutation passive that enables me to keep more debuffs on should I build them up. And another strategy with Anti-Venom, obviously, once you get the first Furies, would be just spam as many specials as you can to kind of make sure they just about never expire. And you do want to use your Relic as often as possible, too. So, now I'm at 11 Furies. I should not be using my level 1 yet. I need to wait for that one mutation passive to fall off. Now I go for level 1. I'm dealing some decent burst damage as well on the level 1s. It's like 25k now. It's already fairly significant. And here we can see that even without synergies, we're doing 50k, well, that would have been way more than 50k. We had 19 Furies on here at this point. Obviously, I'm about to lose some. That I activated my level 1 just to make sure I don't. And those are like 40k bursts too. Now, I did lose some now, but still 13 Furies, not half bad. And damage is quite exciting. I would say the damage is quite exciting. And again, I do refresh my passives, pause my Furies for a bit. Unfortunately, they seem to that pause, I think, might be a bit bugged because it doesn't seem to be long enough. But either way here, just for the finish, we're going to have the 8 Furies. That's fine. And despite all of that, fight's over. And this fight only took me 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So that's completely unsynergized. So Anti-Venom can punch now. But obviously that's in like super long fights. Now we're going to take a look at like shorter fights, basically how you want to start fight with him. Ideally, you actually want to drop some heavy attacks just to get those passives. So, and one of the good things about his buff is that you do not care about losing combo anymore. So that's cool. But yeah, now the more I think about it, you probably do want to start the fights with a couple of heavy attacks just to get more of those passives active super early. And so your initial debuffs are already going to be more powerful. So I'm not going to play this perfect. These are my very first fights. Now, the Star-Lord fights, I already had kind of gotten accustomed to, new version of Anti-Venom. These are just my initial run overall. But honestly, Anti-Venom, out of all of the champions that received a tune-up, is one of those guys that I kind of am interested more than most others. Because he was already almost a great champion before. He was just never kind of like fast enough, and the payoff from damage to utility was worse. Well, now I think you can kind of do it reasonably well. So here I'm going to go for my second level 2. I get to 8 Furies up fairly easily. Those are like paused. So I'm going to activate Strike. Oh no, I don't activate Striker fast enough. My 4 Furies just fell off. But this is like one of the slower matchups, slower fights that I do with Anti-Venom. But as we're going to go along, I'm kind of going to get a bit more accustomed to. And most of these fights are going to be in like within a minute. And that's, not awful, especially considering that he's mainly utility type champion. Now, I still have my doubts whether he is, in fact, going to be, let's say, fast enough for most of the BG metas. But he is absolutely one of those champions I kind of want to keep an eye out for. His biggest downside is definitely his reliance on Sig ability, because in order to get the biggest benefit from him, you absolutely want to have him at max Sig, because he's designed to tank specials in the block and then regen back all of the damage if there are no crits involved. And if he's not high Sig, you can't really do that. So Anti-Venom is definitely type champion. If I'm going to invest in, I'm going to need to go all in on that investment. But I kind of like him. 85k crit there on the first level 2. Obviously, damage will be reliant on your crit RNG, which again, as a 7-star, he can get, crit stat focus. And here at this point, I'm going to be building up more debuffs now. I get 8 Furies. And he's just clapping everybody left, right, and center. 36k mediums fairly easily. I should have just dropped my level 1 there, but I got kind of greedy. But yeah, and the fact that you pause the passives, that does include the Furies, quite nice. I do want to slide a bit further forward to when we fight, obviously, the Wolverine. Do make some mistakes along the way, that's fine. We can ignore that. We're going to take a look at the last few fights, because obviously one of the good things is that he is one of the more powerful heal reversal champs in this game as well. And here, you know, the base strategy likely isn't going to change if you want to purely rely on heal reversing. But your heal reversals are even more potent than they used to be. And I think because of those passives, and also, you know, they do get more potent with your combo meter. And then we do have these passives that lets you reverse even more heal. He's not going to be reversing heal faster than Leader. Leader's still by far and away the best heal reversal champion. But I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job there in that department too, and it's very straightforward to do so. So yeah, I actually really like the new version of Anti-Venom. I think his tune-up was more in line what he kind of needed. Obviously, they could have done more, they could have done less, but that's always the debate there. But allowing him to keep more utility than he had whilst having access to damage, whilst simultaneously increasing effectively the top amount of damage that's possible with him in longer fights, and then even slightly enhancing all of the utility that he has access to, with making it more potent. I kind of like it. You know, out of all of the tune-ups, this is the one that immediately kind of took most of my attention, because for champions like Sabretooth, and I am going to test him out, even if he becomes like a very good damage dealing champion, I still have a lot of my doubts in terms of matchups, right? Which matchups would you use Sabretooth for that you wouldn't want to rather use, let's say, Onslaught or Sinister or Negasonic or Jean Grey or, you know, Cassandra Nova now. But with Anti-Venom, he has the matchups. He has plenty of matchups that he is very suitable for. Now, Mystics are not necessarily the most potent defensive threat, but him being able to go outside of the Mystic class as well is kind of important. Like with Anti-Venom, it's not going to be the fastest fight, but you can do quite well, for instance, against Serpents, limiting his power gain, taking his shots in the block, and, you know, if you do have half decent damage, you might actually have a chance to finish that fight. Now, it's not going to be faster than many of the Mystics, but, you know, it could get the job done there potentially. And similar to a bunch of other champions from, you know, varied classes. So yeah, kind of most intrigued about Anti-Venom. Obviously, it's still super early on. We'll see how the meta checks out and which one of these is the most useful, but I'm quite hopeful for this little guy. And yeah, especially when you see like fights like this, it's just also very satisfying, I'm not gonna lie, to use him. So let me know what you guys think. I, so far, quite enjoy him. See you soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about